Hello. Hey, Brian. How are you?
I'm good, Amy. How are you doing?
Good, good. Well, it's echoey where I am, and I promise you that I am in one of my new listings here, and it's echoey because they vacated the home and we staged it, but it does echo. I apologize on your end.
Looks beautiful from what I
Yeah,
can see.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
pretty excited. This is probably perfectly placed between you and I. I'm in Savage, you're in Lakeville. I'm here in Gray Fox Estates. So,
Oh,
yeah. I know, right?
yes.
So
Yeah.
awesome. So Gray Fox, really, most of the building happened between 2000 and 2005, maybe a couple straggler lots after that. But the
Yep.
neighborhood is mostly comprised of 2.5-acre properties, a couple
Hmm.
of fives, and then there's like a sparse 10 or, one piece of a parcel is a 10-acre. So,
Yeah.
I mean, dang, it is. Of course, I grew up south of the river, so I'm used to countryside and I'm used to driving, through beautiful farm country. And of course, it's grown up out here, but it's just so nice driving out here. It's really quite a sight.
We almost built in Gray Fox
Oh,
about 5, 6 years ago,
yeah,
and hadn't even heard of it. Didn't even
yeah.
know about it, and it's just
Hmm.
kind of tucked away.
Yep.
But man, there's some beautiful houses in there.
Right, right. Yeah. Oh my goodness. And really from even downtown Lakeville, it's 10 minutes. From downtown
Yep.
Prior Lake, it's 10 minutes. It's really kind of scrunched between. So it's just a really nice location. It's interesting
Yeah.
too, the neighborhood, there's about 100 or 120 home sites, and
Mhm.
half of the neighborhood goes to Lakeville schools, and the other half goes to Prior Lake. So I always kind of
Oh,
get
wow.
out of those neighborhoods that are cut in half, but
Yep.
it
Yep.
happens quite a bit. Um,
Yeah. Do you
so
have a little? Do you have a little time to tell us about this listing?
Yeah, so I'm just putting it on the market today. This is going to be 750,000. It's on
Okay.
2.5 acres, four
Yep.
bedroom, four bath, plus an office. It has a 3-car
Awesome.
garage, which could easily be converted to a fourth. There's a workshop, easy, make it a 4. The more garage
Mhm.
you have, especially I think in the acreage where you have toys and
Yep.
space, the better. So
Yeah.
but 2.5 acres, and it's got long prairie grass surrounding the property. What I really like also, the front has a lot of trees that have grown in the last 20 years, so you have privacy on front and
Yeah.
back of this
Yeah.
house. Ideal, really, based on the locations of the septic and well system. Awesome spot for an in-ground pool.
Hmm.
You got plenty of room to do that, or even sport court, or some of those less intrusive type structures. And then there's also an opportunity on this lot to put a detached building. Of course, it'd have to comply within the homeowners association for Gray Fox, but like those nice, not a shed, but like a nice
Yeah.
detached building that mirrors the image and the look and style of the original property. So
Are there a number of those houses out there that have kind of a detached garage that has living space over the top?
there's in Gray Fox, there's just a handful of properties
Yeah.
that have that, very
Yes.
small, because I mean it's expensive.
Yeah.
And what people are putting in there is usually it's a detached structure. There's one going up actually right now around the corner, but boat storage, toy storage. I've seen people
Yep.
put golf simulators.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. If someone does do a pool, it's nice to have that structure for the stuff
Yep.
too.
Yeah.
But then even, if they'll do a pitch on it and up in the A-frame of it, they'll do living space.
Yeah.
I mean, the sky's the limit, really, when you
Yes.
have space. Like, it's so fun to have a property where it has all this space because it can really appeal to a lot of buyers.
The acreage gives you such an advantage, yet with 2 acres, most of those lots, they're all mowed, right? It's not like they back any type of preserve or anything. So it's a big, big, open, beautiful lots.
Right, right. But there is like a little bit of wetlands that run through Gray
Okay.
Fox. So there are quite a few that you'll see little pockets of water, and you can tell.
Cool.
And important to look into if you ever get a pool, where the water
Yeah.
levels are, because that could change your depth. Really
Yeah.
important. People, assume something and it's not that. So there is
Yep.
some of that pocketed pond-ish feeling out here. But
Uh-huh.
because it's so dry this year, everything has been drought.
Yes.
And you can just see the prairie grass right now. It doesn't really show off the water features right now. So
Yep. For sure.
So
Awesome.
it's interesting. We just put it on the property online. We're going to start showings on Thursday.
Okay.
And it's Tuesday. It's been fun. I've worked with these clients for a few months. For certain properties, it takes a while to get onto the market. My clients
Yep.
moved out of state, so I'm kind of taking over a vacant property, which is really fun. But I've been working hard for the last 3 months to get prepared and get everything in order so that when that buyer comes through, it's in perfect condition and it's easy to underwrite an offer and walk through that inspection without an issue.
Do you expect that you'll have quite a bit of activity on this in this price range at $750,000?
Yeah, I would expect at least a dozen to 15 showings by the weekend.
Yeah,
I know, and we're in the supposed quieter time of the year, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, it's kind of nice with our market. We've had a strong year. We're going to have a strong fall. We've had a long summer. We have no sense of really a winter feeling. That sometimes with the cool temperature, the buyers cool off. I think we're going to be strong through the winter. Great news for our kind of luxury price points. It sounds like we had a conventional loan limit increase this last couple of days as well. This is awesome news.
You know what? The previous year, the conventional mortgage limit was 510, and then they moved it to 545. And boy, that really felt significant. This year, they're jumping it up. They're jumping it up 75 grand. They're going to 625 for the maximum conventional mortgage.
That's amazing.
Isn't that amazing?
That's a big jump. And why do you?
Yes.
Well, why at this time of year? And second, why such a bigger difference in number? Why do you think, Brian?
I honestly think it could very well be just to what's going on nationally with median sales prices, for homes. They've gone up significantly. I think it's part of home affordability, offering, loan programs to clients who don't have 20% down, who want to take advantage of. You could be a first-time home buyer, put 3% down with a loan amount of 625, which is incredible.
Right.
So again, promoting home buyers. This typically comes out every January, but we got word of this about 3 weeks ago. Typically, all the investors, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, they will issue and start accepting applications typically in January. We actually have, as mortgage bankers, I have about 20 to 25 different lenders I work with. We have one investor right now that is accepting a 625 loan amount on a conventional mortgage.
Nice. Okay, so starting now, you got to be quick because, we need at least 30, 45 days to close. So we're getting close to the end of 21.
Yes, we are getting very close. And the other thing is, Amy, if you took your property and you went 20% down, your current loan amount would be about $600,000. So that does not meet the gap for conventional lending. They'd have to put more down, or we'd have to get a little more creative. But what this opens up for borrowers is jumbo lending is a loan amount, higher than the maximum conventional. Jumbo lending tends to be just a little stricter, a little tougher. They require you have 6 to 12 months of payment reserves in the bank. They don't allow you to maximize your debt to income ratios, and I don't think anyone ever wants to max out at their qualifying ratios. But if you've got a house currently and you want to purchase without selling that, and it happens to push your ratios high, but we know you're going to sell the house, that's an example of where it would make sense. And I think this will open up, more options for home buyers that want to get into that 650, 675 and don't have to worry about 20% down and have all the benefits of better rates, more aggressive underwriting on conventional per se than jumbo. So I see it a real win, real opportunity in 2022.
Wow. Well, and you're right on it. As our price points have, our value, home values have increased simply, so it's just going to help bridge that gap. Wow. That is exciting news. I think that just came out on, was it Friday?
They just actually, the rumblings have been out there for a couple weeks, but it's really just starting to get published. Of course, in the originator world, you want to be careful. You don't want to, start the news. Whenever you get good news, you want to jump on it quickly. But in most cases, you hear about it at the end of the year. It's not effective to the beginning of the year. So, I typically tend to hold back, but we did get confirmation last week that we have one investor that's willing to honor those right now. So
Hmm.
the word is out.
They'll be the first to the show. They'll know what they're doing when the volume comes their way, because this will be used
Yes.
quite a bit after the first of the year, right?
Yes. The advantage of having multiple investors that are on board with that
Mhm.
is we shop the mortgage and we're going to pursue whoever gives us the best pricing. If
Mhm.
you're the only investor that's offering this option,
Yeah.
you don't have to sharp as pricely as you typically would if you were competing with 20 other lenders, banks, investors. So the pricing right now is probably not as aggressive as it's going to be.
Mhm.
It's about an eighth of a percent higher than a current jumbo mortgage.
Okay.
But still, for those that don't have 20% down, you can do a jumbo loan with less than 20% down, but some of the underwriting and the reserve requirements sometimes hold people up.
Right. That makes sense. That makes sense. It's just nice that, I mean, it's always great to have 20% down or more. I think us listing agents feel confident in that.
Yep.
But also knowing you could do less, save some money for adding things and making a property your own, I think is just a smart way of looking at your money too, that you're pulling out of your, maybe your existing home. Definitely someone buying something, a home like this has lived somewhere else, has owned before, right?
I tell you, I've had conversations with clients and just kind of talk them through 20% versus 10%.
Mhm.
Mortgage insurance premiums are as cheap as they've ever been. There's so
Hmm.
much competition.
Oh,
There's a lot of confidence in the mortgage insurance industry.
okay.
But if you're borrowing mortgage dollars at, let's say, 3%, instead of putting 20% down, why not put 10% down, invest the difference in
Mhm.
a compounding vehicle that's going to get you a rate of return certainly higher than 3% simple interest as a mortgage is.
Right.
So those are some of the conversations that I agree with you. I don't
Hmm.
think 20% is always the only way to go.
Right.
So we have that conversation. We look at 5, 10, 15, 20. The
Mhm.
customer gets whatever they want, but I also like to open that conversation up to get
Mhm.
them thinking about, are there improvements on the
Yep.
house that instead you could pay cash
Yep.
instead of them trying to finance that at a much higher rate?
Exactly. Well, and I think about a property like this, anybody buying on acreage, they always are going to do something to embellish it. They buy land for a purpose. So, like I
Yes.
said, this is an ideal property for an in-ground pool, sport court, even a simple hot tub, detached building. Saving
Yep.
that 10% on your
Yep.
sale or whatever that you would have been throwing just down on the house, save that so you're not borrowing maybe again or making yourself financially uncomfortable
Right.
to embellish the home. Another
Yeah.
thing, when you buy a
Yeah.
house like this, is you might want to get a Tesla because there's an electronic car charging station in the garage.
Seriously. Well, so they must have had one, I would
Yeah,
assume.
yeah, which is super
Wow.
great. Literally, this is a big deal, of course, to certain people, right? I have been in
Yep.
open houses in the past where I've had people come in the door, they're always afraid to talk to the realtor because we're so, going to make them buy the house or whatever. They'll be right by me and go right out into the garage, which, okay, that's fine. But they're like, oh, the panel's not out there. It's going to be really expensive to put in a panel for my
Uh,
Tesla. And I'm like, and it's coming up more and more, and it's a question, and it's just something to call out that really
yeah.
reflects someone's lifestyle, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would assume that goes on a separate circuit. Then they have to
Mhm.
run the circuit up into the garage.
Mhm.
Um,
Yep. So that they
okay.
can
And
the charging thing is actually out, yeah, out in the garage. I don't
yeah.
own a vehicle like that, but it's all right out there.
Wow. Very cool.
Yeah, I know.
Very
It's kind
cool.
of exciting. Well, I'm super
Yeah.
excited about this. Is really cool news going into I mean, we're already going to start talking about the new year. So,
Yep.
knowing that we have got some really nice opportunities to help continue to move our luxury market, because the luxury market, which is probably that in Minnesota, that 650 plus market now, at least, has been the fastest growing segment since the pandemic.
Yes.
Unbelievable. And we've never seen
Yes.
numbers like this. So the fact that we have borrowing numbers behind it is just really going to keep us going, because you always wonder how long is it going to last. Well, with that on top of just the motivation to buy and to better where you live, that's going to keep that market segment moving along very well throughout the whole next year. So
And the beauty is, once you get locked in, if you're doing a fixed rate product, that payment's
mhm.
never going to go up. And who would have ever thought that 750 would kind of in some cases become a little bit of the norm, but that's where we're at. You and I have spoken about this many times through this year.
Yep.
I don't think we're in any type of bubble. I think
Mm-mm.
housing is going to continue to go up. We have a lack of supply.
Yep.
Construction starts nationally are down. They have been for a decade. And, you know, this is just where it is. What I really appreciate about the Twin Cities, we have such a healthy economy with a lot of different employment options, a lot of Fortune 500 companies here. It's a great place to be.
It is. It's really great. And then also, I really love where I'm sitting today because you can be in a community here in Credit River, right between Lakeville and Prior Lake, where you can have a nice home in the city. You can go just a few blocks out and you can have a new home, custom built or built by a production builder. Then you go another 4 or 5 miles out and you can be on a golf course and you can have a custom built home on acreage. I mean, we're really in just such a great location, really offers a variety of kind of properties to choose from. So we're in a nice little spot.
Did you lose me?
Yes, but I can hear you.
You know what? I had a call come in.
Yeah.
And I had to end it. But you can still hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
But
it's probably okay if they don't see me. That's okay.
That's okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we are going to kind of cut it loose here because we wrapped what we wanted to talk about. I appreciate your time, Brian. Thank you, everybody, for checking in. If you have any questions about my new listing here in Gray Fox on Bernard Avenue, please let me know. Also, Brian Parkinson from Alerus Mortgage would love to talk to you about the process of getting pre-qualified for a home mortgage and getting qualified for a home like this with possibly some of the new conventional loan limits that just came out. Thank you so much for checking in.